is JoJo. I'm your social worker that was assigned to your case. Hi. What's your name again?
Jenna.
Jenna. So you go by Jenna. So can you tell me maybe a little bit about what brought you in today?
Parents are getting a divorce.
Your parents are getting a divorce.
Yep.
That sounds like it's probably very stressful for you.
Yep, Dad cheated on Mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you, how did you know about this? Did either of your parents tell you?
You sent it to the wrong person.
Oh, okay. Can you tell me maybe about what was sent to you?
Yeah, pretty much he was trying to end it and offered to like buy her something if she kept quiet, and I'm like, yo, Dad, this isn't meant for me. He's like, oh crap, don't tell Mom. I'm like, too late, she's reading the text messages. And so then all hell broke loose.
Oh. So the messages were sent to you and you showed your mom?
Kinda. She was we were looking at memes on my phone, and the message popped up, and we both went, what? And we looked at it and we were like, oh no.
So it sounds like since this is what brought you in, it's taken up a lot of space inside of you.
Yeah, because I feel like it's my fault.
You feel like it's your fault?
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that?
Well, if we weren't looking at memes, she wouldn't have known about the whole thing, and so, yeah, it's my fault.
It sounds like you take a lot of the blame for what's happened.
They've been fighting for a while. So, I mean, like, I knew it was probably going to happen, but I didn't think it was going to happen this way. You know what I mean?
What has, in dealing with this situation, what are some things that you've had to deal with internally?
Guilt, stress, more guilt, anxiety, depression.
Well, my agency does deal with helping clients overcome these things. So if you're interested in pursuing, I would like to do an assessment with you to kind of help maybe see where you're at and think of a plan and see how we can help you. Is that okay? Okay. Before we start, I just want to let you know that anything you say here stays between the two of us. I will not tell anybody what you say, not even your parents, unless you disclose that you're thinking of harming yourself or someone else. If you disclose that there's abuse in the house, whether that's with a child or an adult, or I have to cut that out. What's the third limitation? Abuse to assault.
Child abuse, elderly dependent abuse.
There's one more. Why can't I think of this?
And harm to others.
Oh, self, others, and then
kids or dependent.
Yeah. Okay, so I did get them all.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll cut that out though. Now I look like I don't have an arm.
So those are the only 3 circumstances in which I have to report anything that you say. So other than that, anything is off limits. Feel free to use whatever language you want. This is for you, and whatever you think is going to be more therapeutic for you. I just want you to be yourself here.
Okay.
So can you tell me a little bit more about, I know you were saying that it causes a lot of anxiety and depression and thoughts of blame. Can you tell me about what it's like for you on a daily basis?
All I hear is arguing and screaming. Sometimes they'll throw like newspapers at each other. We don't eat dinner together anymore. Most of the time he's out of the house, or if he's home, then Mom's out of the house. They don't even sleep in the same room anymore. He sleeps in the guest room. So, like, it's pretty awful.
Yeah, so I hear you saying that it's awful for so much to be going on. I mean, it sounds like maybe it gets a little a little out of hand at times with
I just
throwing
want
things.
them to be like clearly it's not something they're gonna get over, but like maybe not fight when I'm there, cause then like I like it better when my mom's there. She's a better cook.
She's a better cook. What kind of things does she cook?
She cooks chicken. She cooks hamburgers, which happen to be my favorite. And my dad's just like, here's cereal.
So it sounds like despite everything that's going on, you and your mom are still really close.
Yeah, we just went shopping.
Ooh.
Yeah, we got some new shoes. We looking fancy.
You look fancy.
Mm-hmm.
What? So what's your relationship with your dad like?
He's more like, this is what needs to be done, and this is how it needs to be done. It's more or less like a manager and an employee.
So you feel like he's micromanaging you?
Yeah. I feel like I have a boss instead of a dad.
What would your ideal relationship with your dad look like?
Like, him caring, but not about every aspect of my life. And him just being there and being someone I can talk to and not feel like everything I'm gonna say is he's gonna turn into an argument or something like that. And just kind of like be my dad and also be my friend as well. And then doesn't feel like he's either.
So you're looking for a more open relationship where you can be honest with him about certain things without the potential to be reprimanded for anything that you feel.
Exactly.
Are you close with any of your other family members?
I'm close with my brother.
Your brother?
Yeah, but he doesn't live with us. He moved out.
How often do you get to see him?
About every other weekend he'll come over.
When did he move out?
My senior year of high school.
Your senior year of high school. Can you remind me how old you are?
I'm 21.
You're 21. So it's been maybe about 3 years since he's been gone? Okay. Do you have any other friends that you can talk to?
Yeah, I have my best friend. Her name's Caitlin.
Oh, Caitlin. How long have you and Caitlin been friends?
So I'm a year older than her. So we met when she was in kindergarten and I was in first grade, and we've been best friends ever since.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It must be nice to have a longtime best friend.
Yeah, we've never had a fight.
Wow.
I know. Everyone's like, that's not possible. It's like, when you have a good friendship, anything is possible.
Exactly. Like, who are you to tell me what my friendship can't be? That's cool. That's great. So you can tell her anything. Does she know about what's going on with your mom and dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
She has me over quite often.
That's nice.
She tries, especially when the fighting gets really bad. She'll either come pick me up or my mom will let me take the car.
Good.
So
when you said the fighting gets really bad, and I remember you mentioning about things being thrown across the room and stuff, how do you cope with what's going on?
I usually just put my earbuds in and then, listen to music as loud as I feel comfortable with, because I do have sensitive hearing, so it can't be too loud. Okay. Or I just, go down the street, because I can still even hear the screaming from, like, the yard.
What is that like for you?
It's terrible, because I'm just like, well, what if one of them decides to actually hit the other?
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to throw, like, a newspaper, but, like, if you're throwing hands, like, someone better catch.
So, has it ever gotten violent towards you? Has anything ever been thrown at you?
No. Just, the only things that have been thrown are words towards me. And that's usually when I try to, like, step in and try to get them both to calm down, and when I try to be like the rational adult, and it's hard to do, and they're like, you're the kid and we're the parents. It's like, well, you're not acting like parents, go on a timeout kind of a deal, like, separate corners now.
Yeah, because you have feelings too.
Exactly.
And what goes on in the house does affect you as well.
Even the dogs hide. That's how bad it gets.
Really?
Yeah. They hide in my room.
In your room. So they get to. So at least you're not totally alone in that aspect. How many pets do you have?
I have 2 dogs and 1 cat.
Oh, cool.
My cat's a kind of I don't give a fuck personality, so like most cats. So, but he's always there for me, you know.
That's nice. At least you have, when your friends can't be around, when Caitlin,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you can't talk to her all the time, so when she's not
kind
around.
of bad at replying to text messages.
Is she?
Yeah.
Is she busy?
Sure.
Sure. Are you in school or?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm in college.
Oh, cool. Where do you go?
Last year university.
What are you studying?
Social work.
Nice.
Yeah.
I bet you're excited.
Uh-huh.
That's cool.
It's a lot though.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure you have a lot of papers and stuff to write.
Mm-hmm.
How are you managing? How's school going for you?
It's going.
It's going.
Yeah, I'm only doing well in like 2 of my classes. And that's music appreciation and French. I'm not sure how I'm doing well in French, but I'm doing well apparently.
What are some of the factors that you think are preventing you from doing as well as you would like?
Just like a lot of stress, which is really difficult, and like I've also been like diagnosed with ADHD, so to add the stress on top of that, it's a lot to be like it's a lot harder for me to handle everything.
Yeah, it sounds like sometimes things kind of. So it sounds like that can be a lot to handle, and everything kind of seems to be piling up. You mentioned that you were diagnosed with ADHD. Is there anything else that maybe you've been diagnosed with?
I have like a math learning disability, and I've been diagnosed with anxiety.
Okay. And are you taking any medications for your ADHD and anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask what you're taking and what the dosage is?
I'm taking 72 milligrams of Concerta for my ADHD and 50 milligrams of Zoloft for my anxiety.
Okay. And those are daily, right?
Yeah.
Do you find that those are helping for you?
The Zoloft helps. The Concerta, since I haven't seen like a psychiatrist in a while, my like the medicine itself isn't really under control anymore. So like it's harder for me to like keep going when it reaches like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it wears off really fast.
And what do you do when it starts to wear off?
I try to control it. Some days are easier than others.
Yeah. So it sounds like some days you can manage it pretty well, and other days kind of come as a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like for you on the days when it's a little bit more challenging?
I find it harder like to control like what I say or like my movements and stuff like that.
Okay. And then so what do you think is working about the days that you are able to control what you say? Or
usually it's just because I'm just so emotionally exhausted that I just don't have the energy to really do anything.
So when you're emotionally exhausted, you tend to kind of withdraw and slow down.
Mm-hmm.
You don't happen to self-harm or have thoughts of self-harm or anything?
Like I had thoughts about it, and like I did like self-harm, but I wasn't trying to kill myself.
Okay. So it sounds like it was more of a coping mechanism for you. And can I ask when the last time you self-harmed was?
Probably like 7 years ago.
Okay, so that's something you've overcome.
Yeah.
That's incredible. It takes a lot to stop doing.
It's just because like I didn't cut deep enough for blood, so it was kind of like that clear fluid, and my clothes kept getting stuck to it.
Oh.
And it hurt, and I'm like, no thank you, I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Despite the reason for stopping, it's good that you did.
Yeah.
Because you could have really hurt yourself even if you weren't meaning to.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some coping methods you've developed in place of self-harm?
I kind of just like watch YouTube or Netflix, and just kind of like stay by myself.
Okay. So isolation a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help you recenter a little bit, or do you think that you would rather talk to someone? Because everybody has their different way of recharging.
Yeah.
So is that more helpful for you?
I'm usually like I'm a really social person, but when I have like those days, it's just like I just need nobody around me.
Yeah.
Just kind of like I gotta put on the charger, you know.
Yeah.
and I'll come out maybe, after a few hours. Sometimes I'll come out like the next day, but usually I'm just by myself, like texting or stuff like that. Like I'm not like fully isolated, but I'm like on social media and stuff like that, like watching something like on Facebook or YouTube or anything like that.
So you have contact with other people, it's just that you'd rather be alone in your own space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because socializing is hard.
Yeah.
All the time.
Okay. And on days when it gets really hard, and you, like those days when you're having a hard time controlling your emotions and you don't want to talk to anybody, what gives you hope? Are you religious or?
I am religious, but like I'm kind of more like I believe in God, but it's just like I would much rather prefer to not, like I'm baptized Seventh-day Adventist, but I kind of wish that I didn't have a label to my religion. It's more like, I believe in God, I worship Him. What else really matters,
Yeah.
And like kind of like what gives me hope is the fact that I kind of have someone like always, watching over me and making sure that I'm safe, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes. Like he gets busy. But like on days where I just feel like I have no one, I try to help others.
Okay, so your spirituality also, not only do you feel like you have somebody who's watching over you and making sure you're okay, but it also inspires you to help other people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what kind of things do you like to do for other people? Like, do you volunteer?
Sometimes like I'll drive around, and on days where it's like really hot, I'll buy like the homeless people, like I'll buy them like water, or if I'm like at Del Taco, I'll get them like a burrito.
That's incredible, Jenna. That's really nice that you go out of your way for someone else who also is in need.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful. Okay, so what gives you hope also is helping people. Are you involved in any activities on school? Do you work?
Oh, I work.
You work? Where do you work?
I work in the school library.
Oh, that's cool. What do you do?
In the mornings I work at the circulation desk, so which is really cool because like since I am a social person, like I get to greet people and help them, and then after like a few hours of that, I work in the back and I do like the magazines and the newspapers, so people have like their study items and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. So you get to help people in that way also at work.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I get paid for it.
That's always a nice perk too. What do you feel like sometimes are you able to manage your school schedule and your work schedule? Does that go over pretty well?
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part. Okay.
Because like I do have like a lot of time at like when I'm working the desk, I have a lot of time to like do my homework and stuff. But I usually just like watch YouTube.
What kind of things do you watch on YouTube?
Like makeup tutorials, or like my favorite gamer, Markiplier. I watch him like play games.
Nice.
Or I watch people fail at doing something, or animals fail at being whatever animal they are.
Okay. So it sounds like work usually goes over pretty well for you. It's nothing that's too stressful.
No, and my bosses are really, really nice because they've known me since I was really little. And so they're kind of like family.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. That's good. That way you don't feel so nervous at work. Because sometimes it's hit or miss with bosses. So it sounds like you do have a good support system.
Yeah.
At work and at home for the most part, aside from the things that are going on and in school. So I remember you mentioning that you had ADHD earlier. Is there anything else that maybe you were diagnosed with aside from the ADHD and anxiety? Is your physical health in good standing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay.
My doctor's always saying I'm like the healthiest person. He knows.
Good.
Which is awesome because that means I can eat more cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers.
Yes. When I die, they're going to be like, she had a good diet.
She had a good diet. She had cheeseburgers.
Yes.
Do you like pickles on your cheeseburgers?
Yeah.
Good answer.
Just not onions.
Not onions.
I like onion rings, but I don't like onions.
I don't really like onions either. What, So we talked about your coping mechanisms also a little bit. Is there anything else that I should be aware of regarding your coping mechanisms? Have you ever had thoughts of hurting yourself or other people? I know that you did mention you've self-harmed before, but you've overcome that.
I mean, like, I've had, like, thoughts where it's like, oh my god, I'm so mad I could, like, kill him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, like, one of those things that, like, that people say,
Okay. So there's never really an organized plan.
Yeah, it's just like, whatever.
Okay. Have you ever experimented with drugs or anything? No? Okay.
What? Like, I mean, like, I smoked marijuana once, and I was like, no, not for me. And I dated this one guy who vaped, and I tried the vape.
It's for you?
No, but it smells nice. But not for me. I ain't about that life.
Okay. And no alcohol?
I do drink, but like it's pretty much like once a month.
Okay.
Cause it's expensive.
Is it an excessive amount?
No, I'm like, one drink. Can I get water now?
And then, what about caffeine? Do you consume a lot of caffeine or?
Like I drink Diet Coke maybe like 3 times a week,
Okay.
but it's like just like one bottle of Diet Coke. So, but most of the time I'm just either drinking water or like orange juice in the morning.
Okay. We're talking about an ex. So is there any other, do you have a significant other right now or?
No.
No?
He dumped me.
He dumped you.
Over text.
Over text?
Yeah.
Not even in person?
No.
How did that make you feel?
Like I was played. Because he was like, we just don't have enough in common. And it's like, well then why did you ask me to be your girlfriend?
Yeah.
I went through my own little mini divorce right there. I do understand when it's someone that you thought you knew, and then they're not the person that you've made them out to be.
Yeah.
Which I struggle with, because like I meet someone and then like I build this entire picture of how I think things are gonna go with them or how I think they're gonna be like, and then I kind of get let down when it doesn't meet like my expectations of what I thought was gonna happen.
And how do you cope when you feel like you've been let down like that?
I grin and bear it.
So it sounds like you're a very resilient person.
I try to be.
Yeah, it seems like it. That's something to be proud of. Not a lot of people sometimes have a tendency to have more
Dwell
negative
on the past.
Yeah, or have more negative coping mechanisms. It sounds like you kind of just roll with anything
like
that comes your way.
Dad, his coping mechanism is to drink and then go out. Instead of go out and then drink, he drinks at home and then it goes out. I'm just like, but why though? He's like, so I'm not tempted to drink there. And I'm like, okay. Or, hear me out, you don't drink at all. It doesn't work.
You're a very bright girl, Jenna.
Oh, thank you.
I think you have a lot of insight. How do you think that watching your dad and seeing his coping mechanisms have maybe had something to do with the way you've decided to cope with things or the way you've decided to not cope with things?
I tend to be more of, if like I'm upset about something, like I may not say it, but I'm upset about something, and then everyone's just like, oh, what's wrong? Whereas he's just like, well, he's upset about something, so he's just not going to talk about it or show it, but then he's going to be mad about it later, and then be like, well, why did you do this? And it's like, I didn't know that was a problem. So I definitely have more of my mom's coping mechanisms, I think.
Okay. So it does sound like you have a lot of very strong influences in your life. That's good. I'm glad that you and your mom have a relationship where you can be more open the way that you wish you and your dad could. And I'm also glad that you have a best friend who's there to listen to you for whatever issues you might come up. Well, it was nice meeting with you today, Jenna. Do you have any questions for me?
How long is this going to take?
We're about done now, but if you would like to continue with these services, I can have you meet. We can meet once a week or twice a week if you think that that's what you need.
I'll be meeting with you?
Yes, if you would like to. And then I'll just have you make an appointment with my receptionist, and I'll see you in the next coming weeks. The length of therapy kind of depends on you. It's all up to you. You have the right to decide when you want to terminate, or you can keep going until there's no time limit. So,
Awesome.
any other questions? Well, it was nice meeting you today, Jenna.
It was
Hopefully
nice
I'll see
meeting you
next
too.
week.